In the business world, there's this default setting, right? And that's growth. More customers, more employees, more scale. It's the metric we're all taught to chase. But what if that constant, relentless push for more is actually a trap? What if the real goal wasn't to get bigger, but just better? This quote from Edward Abbey is pretty provocative, and it gets right to the heart of what Paul Jarvis is talking about in his book, Company of One. It's a direct challenge to the way we think about business, and it offers a really powerful alternative for anyone who's starting to feel like the chase for scale is leading them down the wrong road. Now, don't let the name Company of One fool you. It isn't strictly about being a solo founder. You could be a small team, a network of collaborators. The key isn't the number of people, it's the mindset. It's a business that intentionally and strategically questions growth and completely redefines what success looks like. And you can see that contrast laid out pretty clearly here. On the left, you've got the traditional model, always chasing more scale, more revenue, and grabbing as many customers as possible, often by burning through cash. The Company of One model on the right, it flips that script completely. It's all about sustainability, being profitable from day one, and creating deep, lasting relationships with the customers you already have. It's a fundamental shift from quantity to quality. So look, this isn't just some feel-good lifestyle choice. It's actually a really potent business strategy. When you choose to stay small and focused, you unlock some profound competitive advantages, the kind that bigger companies just can't touch. Let's break down the three big ones. All right, the first strategic advantage here is all about building a business that's truly resilient. You know how everyone talks about being too big to fail? Well, this flips that on its head. The goal here is to be too small to fail. By keeping your overhead incredibly low and focusing on what Jarvis calls a minimum viable profit, you create a business that's lean, it's agile, and it is incredibly hard to kill. It can ride out recessions and market shifts because it doesn't need that constant, crazy growth just to survive. That, right there, is freedom. Okay, so the second advantage, this is where you build a competitive moat that, honestly, the big guys just can't cross. And what is that moat? It's trust. Simple as that. As a small personal business, you can build deep, authentic relationships in a way a faceless corporation never could. You're not just a logo, you're a person or a small team that your clients actually know and believe in. And when customers truly trust you, they stay with you, they pay for value, and they become your most passionate advocates. I mean, think about it. This is exactly why huge corporations pour millions of dollars into trying to fake the kind of authenticity a Company of One just has. When a giant like Colgate goes and buys a brand like Tom's of Maine, they're not just buying a toothpaste recipe. They're acquiring pre-packaged trust. They're literally paying a premium for something you can build for free. And that brings us to the third advantage, which, for a lot of people, is the most powerful one of all. This model gives you permission to design a business that serves your life, instead of having a life that's completely consumed by your business. There's this great story in the book about an accountant, right? He hits his revenue goal for the year in August. So what does he do? He just stops. He takes the rest of the year off to go rock climbing. He figured out what enough was, and his business became the tool to get him there, not some monster that was always demanding more. Okay, so this all sounds pretty amazing, right? But let's put on our strategist hats for a second. Is this framework really a silver bullet for every single business out there? The honest answer is no. It's a specialized tool, and we need to understand exactly where it fits and, maybe more importantly, where it doesn't. So it's time for a really necessary reality check. We need to be crystal clear about the limitations and the challenges of this whole approach. Look, this model is not a one-size-fits-all solution, not even close. If you're building a business that needs network effects to survive, like a social media platform, then this is the wrong playbook. Scale is the entire point there. It's also super tough for low-margin product businesses that have to sell massive volumes to turn a profit. And, well, obviously, if your dream is to build a venture-backed unicorn, this isn't for you. This strategy really shines for businesses built on high-value skills and expertise. Think consultants, creators, and specialized service providers. And here's another thing you've got to be real about. You are the engine and the entire vehicle. It's not enough to just be a genius at your craft. You also have to be the head of marketing, the entire sales team, and the CFO. For some people, wearing all those hats is incredibly empowering. For others, it's just plain overwhelming. But honestly, the biggest hurdle here might be purely psychological. Our entire culture just glorifies growth. It feeds the ego. When someone asks how business is going, they expect to hear about expansion. It takes serious discipline to fight that pressure, to say no to opportunities that just lead to more complexity, and to define for yourself what enough really truly means. So, when you weigh all of that, the powerful advantages against the very real limitations, who is this philosophy actually for? This is the playbook for the skilled professional who wants to build a lasting, profitable practice, not just bounce from one gig to the next. It's for the small business owner who cares a heck of a lot more about profit and autonomy than they do about a fancy title or a high head count. And really, it's for anyone who's seen that growth at all costs machine up close and knows there has to be a smarter, more sustainable way to build a business and a life. And all of this really leads to a huge fundamental question that this whole strategy forces you to ask yourself. If more is off the table as the default goal, then what in the world are we working towards? And that's where the book lands. This is the core message. It's not about the business first. It's about that question right there. The goal isn't just growth for growth's sake. The goal is to first figure out the life you actually want to live. And then, and only then, do you build a lean, profitable, resilient business that serves as the engine to make that life happen. The business is the tool, not the master. So if you want to dive deeper into these ideas, I've put a link to Paul Jarvis's Company of One right in the description for you. And hey, while you're down there, make sure you subscribe for more deep dives just like this one. We'll see you in the next one.